right, welcome back. We're going to dive right in. It's Stephen Howell here with productivewisdom.com. And to launch this new blog and brand that I've been telling you about, I'm conducting a 4-part training series, how you can make one simple change, and get your next or your first deal done by Christmas. So as you may or may not know, and as I said yesterday in the video, a few months back, I surveyed all of my subscribers, all of my customers and students to find out how I can serve you better. What are your biggest problems, obstacles? What causes you pain, frustrations? What have you experienced? Maybe if you've been pursuing real estate for a while with other courses or programs that you liked, that you didn't like, and more about your advertising budget and things that you've tried and all sorts of different questions. And I did that so I can get a better gauge on where you're at in your business and how I can best serve you and help you. So today we're going to talk about one of those areas that was very, very prevalent on the survey. So just to kind of help, bring this together here, the survey results are in. I went through every single solitary response and I got dozens and dozens and dozens of them, which I'm very grateful for you to take the time out of your busy schedule to fill out those surveys and to tell me how I can best serve you. So one of the big questions, my friend, that I asked is the single biggest roadblock that you have that you feel is preventing you from achieving results in real estate. And I said this thing, like, what keeps you awake at night? Maybe you have indigestion, you're staring up at the ceiling. Like, what are you afraid of? What's your biggest fear with doing this whole real estate thing? And I want to read you verbatim, just a handful, a sampling of some of the answers that I got to this question. And over this 4-part series, like I said, I am going to help you make one simple change to help you get your first or your next big deal done by Christmas. And my friend, that is absolutely possible. So we're going to be doing that over the course of this, this 4-part series here. So today we're going to be talking about the fear of talking with people. And I'm going to show you in just a second. This manifests itself in a couple of different ways, but this was a big, big theme. There were a lot of things, like I mentioned on yesterday's video, that people are struggling with, and that's what we're going to cover in these 4 videos. But this is one of them. In one way, shape, or another, afraid of talking with people, whether they be sellers, buyers, title companies, attorneys, realtors, all of those things. And that's a very normal and natural fear. So for those of you who stay to the end of this video, I have 2 very special bonuses that I'm going to give to you. So make sure you stick around. I have an exercise for you to do as well and some really cool stuff. So it's my goal to keep these trainings as fast as possible because I believe that is important, but I also want to be very thorough and help you really get a handle on this point. So if you stick around, I'm going to give you 2 bonuses that you don't want to miss out on. So make sure you grab something to write with, shut down social media, eliminate any and all possible distractions, silence your phone if you can, and like I said, have something to take some notes with because I'm going to give you 7 action steps. This is not one of those things where you just, pay attention, let Stephen make me feel good, and then I'm just going to kind of sit behind my computer and not really make any changes. I want you to go out and actually take some action because I want you to get results. So I'm going to give you specific action steps to start taking today, so you're going to want to write those down. So here's what people are saying on this survey. I fear building long-term relationships with sellers, attorneys, and agents. I feel like I don't bring any added value to them and I'm only approaching them to achieve my needs. And I get that, right? Like, you kind of feel like it's like me, like, hey, help me. Like you don't want to feel needy and desperate and like you're just constantly, seeking stuff from people because, that gets annoying after a while, right? So I totally get that. What I need the most help with, Stephen, would be sounding professional over the phone. So confidence in the way you sound. I need some help with calling. I'm simply not connecting with people. Okay? Fear of talking with sellers. fear of success. And that's a very real thing. A lot of times people will not admit this, or they don't even really know that this thing exists, fear of success. But fear of success, responsibility. What if this does work? What if my phone starts blowing up? What if my emails start blowing up and I actually have to go out to these properties and fill out contracts, and then I have to go to the title company, and then what do I do for tax purposes? And then, oh my goodness, if I start succeeding, and am I just going to start blowing through the money if I make $10, $15, $20,000? All these different things. And on the surface, it sounds silly, oh my gosh, Stephen, I would love to be successful in this. I would love to make 20 grand and, in the next 30, 60, 90 days and do my first deal. But there is a very real fear of success and responsibility. A lot of times we try our very best to avoid putting our butt on the line and taking responsibility for things. So that's a very real fear. And it's, kudos to you who, said that. I'll keep their name anonymous, but a lot of times we aren't even aware that that's a real fear that we have. So the fact, my friend, that you're aware of that fear is going to give you a little bit more power to overcome that. What I need the most help with would be sounding professional over the phone. Probably somewhere deep down inside, I don't believe I deserve to be successful. Wow, that's powerful. That's a deep-seated thing that we have to work on there. And, I get that. So, kudos to you for admitting that. Somehow I still vacillate and feel like I'm not ready. I feel like I have to somehow become something I'm not in order to succeed. And we're going to touch on that very thing here today. I'd like to become more comfortable with people when it comes to having self-confidence and the ability to stand my ground when appropriate. And obviously that's going to be helpful in negotiating. But we don't have to be some sleazy, aggressive salesperson to be very, very good at this business. So my friend, kudos to you for mentioning that. I am going to touch also on that very subject today. People are telling me I sound like a telemarketer calling. Yes, there's some very subtle changes that you can make with your voice inflection and the way we go about doing this. And a lot of times it's just not having an example to follow, not knowing exactly what we should say. So, if you feel like you're sounding like a telemarketer, or if you're getting that response, just know that you're not alone. And it's not overly difficult to change that. It takes some practice, some persistence, but a lot of times it takes knowing what to say and how to say it. And once you kind of develop that, that can definitely be overcome. So yes, you are not alone in that. So let's continue on here. Here's what people are saying to this question on the survey of the biggest thing that they're afraid of, the biggest thing that is one of their roadblocks. I would also love some help in negotiation. I've never had a job where I had to sell anything. So obviously, if we think about talking with people, not only is that talking with our seller leads and talking with buyers, but it's also how do we talk to the title company and maybe real estate attorneys or realtors or maybe other wholesalers in the industry, right? There's all sorts of these little conversations that we need to know how to have and how to have them effectively. And when you know that, it's not that intimidating because they're very short, sweet conversations, and we approach it in a way where we're not needy or desperate, and it's just like, hey, here's how we can help. Awesome to meet you. Cool. Let's stay in touch. And it's not like we're constantly needing something from them. So there's a shift that I want to have, that I want to help you to have when it comes to that. But it also manifests itself, when we're talking with people in negotiation, right? And networking and asking for leads and referrals. So real estate, it definitely is a relationship business. It's a people business. Like you have to, if you want to get results, the scary truth is you will have to talk with people. However, it doesn't need to be as scary as you're probably making it out to be in your mind. And you can be very successful even if you are shy, timid, or more of an introvert. I know many individuals that I just described there, and I myself can be a bit more of an introvert, and you can still be very, very successful in this business, and you don't have to sell your soul or be anyone who you're not. But this skill of talking with people, it manifests itself in all aspects of this business, and here's an example of negotiation. So yeah, great for mentioning that. I feel like I'm too young. People might not take me seriously. I feel I have an accent I'm a little self-conscious about. Oh my goodness, you are not alone. I've talked with so many people who maybe feel they're too young, too old, or they have a certain ethnicity or accent, or maybe English isn't their first language. They're from a certain part of the country, or they grew up in this certain part of the country. Now they live somewhere else, and they still carry a strong accent that they can be self-conscious about. And I want you to know that it's very, very possible to overcome that. And I'm going to touch on that later in this video. All right, so the last one here is I need to get better on the phone. My roadblock is that I need to be more likable. And likability is definitely a factor when you're on the phone, right? Because people like to do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. So likability is a thing. And it's not that we have to be some different person, but there's little things, little subtle things that we can do to help the seller or the buyer or whoever we're talking about to have a better experience. You know, when we're coming across and having a conversation with someone, it's an exchange of value. And if we start operating from a place of value instead of a place of a needy and desperation and give me, it just becomes a lot better, because then we can serve the marketplace instead of trying to take and get lucky or manipulate. So we're going to touch on that as well. So, and the other thing here is no confidence. So that's a huge theme here. So maybe you can relate to one or more of these things. So the whole idea here is, you know, I went through every single response on these surveys, and this was one of the bigger issues in some way, shape, or form. It was fear of talking with people or not being good at talking with people. Maybe you're not afraid, but maybe you're just not that good at talking with people. And my goal of this training is not to sugarcoat it for you. So if you don't mind, I'm going to talk kind of, you know, directly and real with you, because, you know, I want you to get real results. So the whole goal here is, hey, if a lot of people are struggling with this, maybe you are as well. So maybe this is something that can help you. And so I just want you to know, my friend, that you are not alone. So if this is something, if one or more of these issues you also struggle with, I just want you to know that you're not alone, that I struggled with these very same things that almost every successful real estate investor that I know of, and I know actually a lot of the bigger names in the industry, they all struggled with these very similar things, okay? So it's very rare, if ever, where I've just met someone who never struggles with any of these things. Like, that person just doesn't exist. But it's our natural human tendencies to think that somehow everybody else got it right and we're getting it wrong. You know, raise your hand. Have you ever felt that way? Like where everybody else somehow knows this secret that you're not part of, that you don't get? It's such a frustrating feeling. And a lot of times we beat ourselves up and we feel like that often. But it's not true. Other people feel the same way. And as you can see by a lot of these surveys, and I didn't change a word there, I just, you know, copied and pasted those responses over. So to summarize here, people are basically feeling like they don't have any value to give. They feel like they're needy and desperate. And how in the world are they going to give any value to sellers or buyers or title companies or attorneys or realtors or other wholesalers? That's a big thing. They fear getting out from behind their computer, right? It feels good watching a motivational video or a training video, and it makes sense, but they fear actually getting out from their seat at the seminar or from behind the computer screen and actually talking with real people in person or over the phone in the real world, which unfortunately is what it takes to actually get results. So that's like kind of where the rubber meets the road, right? So like I said, like we're going to get right to it today, and this is some heavy stuff, but I want to help you to get some handles on this, okay? That's the goal here. So number 3, people do not feel like they're ready. And this is such a universal concept, but we always feel like, I call it getting ready to get ready. So many times we spend weeks and months and years getting ready to get ready. We feel like there's just this missing secret that if we know just a little bit more, we're going to be so much better equipped. We just have to learn this. We always tell ourselves, like, we just got to learn this one more little thing. If I just knew this, if I just had this, if I just did this. People feel like they just need a little bit more before they can go take action. And my friend, you know what I'm going to say. That keeps more people stuck than almost anything else. So think about that, right? Start letting that, ruminate in your mind a little bit. What if you acted differently than that, right? People are intimidated of the responsibility if the conversation goes well, if it goes good, or if it goes bad. And what is the aftermath? What is that going to look like? Like, what if I meet with the seller and the conversation goes well? Then, oh my God, how am I going to fill out a contract? Or like, how am I going to find buyers for this deal? Or how am I going to do this thing? Or, what if I look like an idiot? What if I look like a beginner? What if they call me out and they ask for proof of my other deals and they're like, oh my gosh, you're a beginner. You don't know what you're doing. You're an idiot. Like, these are some of our fears, right? And I've felt these fears. Every single person that I know who's made it in this industry has felt these fears. So these are the common themes, these 4 themes, that people are really, really scared of, right? All right, so let's really dive in and get a handle on these things. So on this training, I want to try my very best to help you have 4 internal shifts. Now, I realize on a training like this, it's a very tall task to get you to instantly change your entire belief system and, maybe overcome something that you've been struggling with for years, especially if it's a self-esteem issue. But it's my goal, it's my thought, it's my intention, it's my prayer that maybe I can just plant a seed for you to help, just a seed, and that will germinate throughout your life to help you have some of these shifts here. So the 4 shifts I want to try to help you have. Number 1 is you must decide if you'd rather, and this is going to kind of hit hard, but stick with me. I promise you're going to want to stick with this. You must decide if you'd rather be comfortable or if you'd rather get results. I mean, there's simply no way around working hard. You have to work hard to get results. You have to put in hard work. You have to work smart. And in this business, you do have to talk with people. Okay, so you have to decide, like, even if I feel a little uncomfortable, if I learn like what Steven is saying and I learn how to have these conversations and how to keep things simple and how to still keep my integrity and how to give value to people and how to serve people, I just need to learn what to say and how to say it and I need to learn the skill of like identifying the different relationships that are valuable to have in my real estate business. And okay, that seller, that buyer, that attorney, that realtor, that wholesaler, what are they going through? What are they experiencing? What questions about me do they have? Maybe how can I help them? How can I serve them? How can we create a win-win here? And so it causes you to critically think. And a lot of times we want to avoid the hard work of having to get creative and work through some of those scenarios. And then there's all the fear of the unknown, all the million little answers. So we don't make the leap of faith. We don't make the jump. We don't do it because it's uncomfortable. None of us want to look stupid. None of us want to look like an idiot. None of us want to look like a beginner. So I want to help you to have this shift that you have to decide. You must decide if you'd rather be comfortable or if you'd rather get results. And if you want to get results and you want to make a change in your life, there will be an area that you have to step out on faith and get a little tiny bit uncomfortable, But my friend, I just want to let you know from someone who's on the other side reaching a hand back to you that it's not as scary and as crazy and as just completely like fearful as you think. And when you actually do it and do it and do it, it's a lot simpler and it's a lot fun, because guess what? You grow, you become a bigger person, you develop friendships and relationships and confidence that you didn't even know you had, okay? So there's so much blessing and benefits when you make that decision to act. But it's scary, but it's there, okay? So I want you to think about that. I also want you to know the shift that I want you to have. You have right now, watching this video, you have more value to give than you think. You might not believe that you have a lot of value to give sellers, buyers, realtors, attorneys, title companies. You have a lot more value than you think. It's just you don't know what you have. You know, we a lot of times we don't know what we don't know, and sometimes it takes somebody shining a light on that. And again, it requires us to go on a little bit of faith. So I'm going to help you to do an exercise on that here in just a few minutes to help you to realize some of the values that you do have as a wholesaler and how you bring value to a lot of people in the process. And when you really get this, it's really going to help free you up to operate with a lot more confidence. So I'm going to share with you an exercise here in just a few minutes. So stick around for that. Number 3, you don't need to be someone you're not. And here in just a moment, I'm going to bring on your screen a video of a very recent training that I did that goes perfectly with this. And we're going to do that exercise, and we're going to talk about this exact thing, that even if you're shy, if you're timid, if you're an introvert, if you're not overly salesy, or maybe you've never done anything salesy, I want to help you to get a handle on this. All right, so number 3, you don't need to be someone that you're not. And I'm going to touch on this here in just a moment. I have a video and an exercise that I'm going to link in with this training video where I talk about this. You know, if you don't want to sound salesy, if you're shy, timid, or an introvert, maybe if you feel like you're too young, too old, have an accent, I'm going to talk about that very thing, and then I'm going to take you through an exercise. So stick around here for that, because that's coming up next. So in this, I just want to hit this point home that you can keep these conversations very simple. You're going to notice, and this is one of the bonuses that I'm going to give you if you stick to the very end of this video, okay? You're going to notice that the same obstacles come up over and over, the same kind of questions that they might pose a hurdle or an obstacle for you. And say, well, Steven, how did you get my information? Or who are you with again? Or okay, Mr. Big Shot, you're calling me, what's your offer? There's different things that will come up. And once you know how to handle these objections, right, that they give you, whether they're sellers, buyers, title companies, other wholesalers, once you notice the framework to these conversations, you realize, oh my gosh, there's a couple of patterns here. Almost every time they say one of these few things. And once you know how to successfully realize that and kind of overcome that question, it frees you up, right? And that takes a little bit of skill, and it takes knowing what to say and how to say it. But I don't want you to be overwhelmed. And there's no way you're going to learn that in just an instant, but I simply want you to know that it's possible, and we go about that in a very simplistic way. So as you begin to massage this skill, as you begin to implement it in the real world, you're going to get better at it. And just knowing that, hey, I do need to identify different patterns. I need to identify how to talk with sellers, buyers, title companies. But you don't need to know all the answers before you start. And if you do, because my brain, my personality, I can be like that where I want to know all the answers. That will keep you stuck longer than anything else, okay? So let me just give you a quick example of, a very simple conversation. So for example, if I'm calling, let's say, an inherited property, right? Somebody inherited a property and I'm calling the executor. I'm saying something like, Hey, Mrs. Jones, it's Stephen Howell here. I was just giving you a quick call about the house over on Green Street. And then what I do is pause, because if I talk too much, I sound like a telemarketer. So I pause and I let them register what I'm saying. Okay? And they'll say, uh-huh, or yeah. And I'll say, yeah, so Mrs. Jones, this is kind of a shot in the dark. I was just giving you a call about the house over on Green Street to see if it would happen to be for sale. I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be for sale. I see that you're the administrator. Well, okay, Stephen. And this is where, I'm already anticipating, because I know they're probably going to ask me, well, who are you? How did you get my information? Well, Mrs. Jones, I'm just a local investor. I noticed your information down at the courthouse, and like I said, if it's not for sale, I will never bother you again. But simply, I sent a letter to you in the mail. I'm a local investor. I'm not a realtor. I'm not trying to call and list your property. I would be interested in possibly making an offer on it and buying it directly, but I just wasn't quite sure if it was going to be for sale or not. And then they can either tell me that no, it's not going to be for sale, in which case I will never bother them again. Or they'll be like, well, we are going to be selling it. Or, well, we're thinking through a few things. And there's an opportunity for me to educate them on a couple of options. But I don't just keep talking about myself. And so if they do say, yes, it's going to be for sale, immediately I ask more questions. I take hold of the conversation, but not in an aggressive way, in a very natural way. Okay, Mrs. Jones, great. Well, tell me a little bit about the house. And here's the magical question you always want to remember. Is it in pretty good shape, or does it need a little bit of work? Boom. This kind of gets them talking. It gets them thinking about the house. It shows that we have a sincere interest in them and in the house. We're not just like already beating them over the head with price. Okay? And so she might say, well, Stephen, who are you with? And I'll say something like, well, Mrs. Jones, I'm not with any big fancy company. Like I said, I'm not a realtor. I'm just kind of a local guy. I work with a couple partners, kind of more of a mom and pop shop type thing. And we basically buy a few houses each month. And, your house definitely caught my attention. I love the houses over there in Oakwood. And we're looking for more right now. We certainly are doing some marketing. We're reaching out to a few people, and we have our eyes on a few right now. So I thought I'd just reach out to you. And if you're, if it's not for sale, no harm, no foul. And she might say, well, okay, Mr. Big Shot. Well, what's your offer? And I'll say, well, with all due respect, Ms. Jones, we like to, really lead with our best foot forward. So can you tell me a little bit about the inside of the house? Is it in pretty good shape, or does it need a little bit of work? Tell me about the kitchen. When's the last time that was updated? Does it have granite countertops? Has it already been renovated, or, is it a little bit more dated? And then I'll kind of bounce back and forth through the condition of the house, and then I'll start educating her on some of the benefits of going with a cash investor, and how we can help them, and what that would look like, and a rough ballpark of where our offer would be. That hey, Mrs. Jones, if honestly, if you're wanting top dollar, if you're wanting pristine value, that this might not be the best fit for you, but if you're looking for 60, 70, 80 cents on the dollar, we also factor in repairs, blah, blah, blah. So I let them know a range, so that way I can filter through the lead to see their motivation. And, if they are better suited to list it with a realtor, or it's not a good fit, I let them know that right up front. And then simply it's like, okay, Mrs. Jones, well, I tell you what, let me do some digging, let me do some research, let me look over the numbers, talk with my partner, and I'll check back with you in the next few days with a rough idea of where I'd be. And then I'll make sure to get her contact information, her cell phone, her email. So it's very friendly. It's very nonchalant. It's not aggressive, but I'm still in control. I'm still navigating the waters. And, at any given time, I'm operating from this perspective of like, hey, there's other fish in the sea. We're doing some marketing. We're looking at other houses. I'd love to be able to help you, but if it's not a good fit, that's cool. Right? So you can kind of notice there that, I have some things that I say to each little opportunity or objection that presents itself. So it's not difficult. A lot of times it's just knowing what to say. And I learn these things from a mentor, saying them over and over. And I also learn these things by getting out there and saying the wrong things and not knowing what the heck to do and looking foolish. But guess what? When we look foolish, when we look like an idiot, it forces us to go learn something. And we remember that pain. We remember that like uncomfortable silence or awkwardness, right? So you're going to learn so much better by taking action than you are from behind your computer. So I just really want that to resonate with you. And then number 4 here, we already talked a little bit about this, but I can't remember who I heard this from, but I know it was a very wise marketer, business person that was insanely successful. And they said that there's a conversation that's always happening in someone's mind, right? They're always asking themselves, like, who are you? How can you help me? Are you for real? Are you just going to lowball me? So if we can help answer the question that maybe our prospects or sellers or buyers are having in their minds about us, it's going to be an instant rapport builder. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, Steven, did you read my mind? How did you know this? Because you're actually doing the critical thinking of their needs. What is the seller? What are they going through? What's their pain point? Mrs. Jones, if you don't mind me asking, I know the house needs a lot of work, but it's a beautiful property, a great foundation, a great lot, a great part of the city here. Why in the heck are you selling in the first place? Why don't you just go list it with a realtor? Tell me a little bit about your situation. You mentioned you and your siblings do want to get rid of this house. What's really going on here? So I'm actually taking time to ask about their situation and what's going on, right? So ask, if you answer questions that are going on in people's mind, and I talked about this a little bit earlier of like, who are you? How can you help me? Okay, what's your offer? That type of thing. It's a powerful concept. I want you to start thinking when you're on the phone with a wholesaler, with a seller, with a buyer, with an attorney, with any type of a lead, I want you to think about what they're thinking, right? And start answering, be bold, answer the questions that they already have in their mind. And when you do that, just like, in my example I gave you, Mrs. Jones, right? She was probably thinking like, well, Steven, who in the heck are you? How did you get my information? What's your offer? Okay, you're Mr. Big Shot Investor. What can you pay for my house? Are you just going to lowball me? These are very real questions. Are you a realtor that's just going to try to list my house? All this stuff is probably going through her mind. And if I take time to kind of put her first and say, I'm going to put her at ease because I care about this relationship. I'm going to go ahead and address some things that I think she's probably concerned with. That shows that you care, and there's an instant rapport builder there. And that's like, when I heard this a long time ago from, like I said, a very wise marketer, business entrepreneur, they said, whether you like it or not, and this goes for like when you're writing a sales message, or maybe like you're writing letters or emails, or you're making offers, or like I said, you're typing up an email. It also goes when you're in person on the phone. The other person at the opposite end of that, they are having an inner dialogue, whether, and a lot of times they're not conscious of it. It's kind of happening in the background of their mind. And it's just how we humans work, right? They're having this inner dialogue, and if you will participate in that dialogue, if you'll participate in that conversation, it's really, really powerful, right? And it'll help you so much to connect with people in a much better way. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to dive into about a 15-minute segment here, like I mentioned before, where I have an exercise for you. So I want you to go ahead and watch that right now. But don't stop there. As soon as we come back, I'm going to wrap up today's training, and I'm going to give you 7 action steps to take. I'm also going to give you 3 No, four book recommendations to really help you to, get some handle and to help you acquire this skill set. This is a skill set that will serve you so well in life, in all other areas of life. So I'm going to give you 7 action steps, 4 book recommendations, and then for those who stick to the end of this video, I'm going to give you 2 bonuses. I'm going to give you my rebuttal script, the 9 rebuttals of like when you're calling people and they're telling you, well, Steven, I'm thinking about renovating my house, or I might just keep it myself, or I don't really know, I might want to list it with a realtor. I'm going to give you like my responses and like what I would say in those certain situations. But there's a way that you're going to get access to this, but you have to watch till the end of this video to learn how to get access. So I'll see you back here in just the next few minutes, the next 15 minutes, and I'll wrap up this video. We'll tie a bow on it, and that'll be all for today. So how to sell without being pushy or salesy. I just want to touch on this briefly, and then tomorrow we're going to take a little bit deeper dive so that way this is not an obstacle for you. Even if you are an introvert like I am, many of you may or may not believe that I actually naturally in large crowds can be more of a shy and timid person. So if I can do this, my friend, I just want to give you the confidence and belief that you can do this as well. And I'm actually going to walk you through an exercise that I created when I started wholesaling that allowed me to kind of be freed up from some of these doubts and fears and worries. So first, I want you to realize that we are actually helping people solve specific problems in their life, okay? We get paid, and this is something that you definitely want to write down. I heard this years back, and I've never forgot it. It's extremely true. We get paid in life, in business, in direct proportion to the value that we give to the marketplace. See, when I first started wholesaling, I kind of came from this mindset that I was needy and desperate, because quite literally I was. My back was financially against the wall. I had to make this work, and I was approaching sellers and buyers just with this kind of needy attitude, almost like I had to sell them something. And then I had a shift. After doing this the wrong way for a long time, I realized, hey, there's a different way to go about this. There's a different way. I can actually provide value to them, help them solve a problem. I first need to find out, what is their problem, and then simply present to them a solution. And hey, it's cool if they accept the solution, and it's cool if they don't, but I don't need to, beat them over the head, if you will, and really try to push them over on something. Nobody likes to be pushed. People want to do business with people they like and trust. So that's a key thing, and I'm going to talk more about that here in just a second. So we want to approach each and every situation with a mindset, especially when we're talking with sellers and buyers, that it's awesome and it's cool if they accept our offer, and it's cool if they don't. Here's how we can help you with your specific problem, and it's cool if it's not a good fit for you. And people like doing business with people who have that calm and cool demeanor. And it does not matter. I get questions almost every day asking me, Steven, what about if I'm very young? Are people going to take me serious? What about my ethnicity or the way that I speak? Maybe English isn't my first language. Maybe I have a certain accent, whether, it's a certain part of the country that I live in. And I just don't think people are going to take me seriously. So I want you to know that I have personally worked with and seen people from all ages and all backgrounds be successful in this business. So a lot of times it boils down to our thinking. If truthfully, what I've found is that if you think your age or your ethnicity or your background or whatever it is going to be a hindrance and people are not going to take you seriously, then what I found is that tends to manifest itself and become true. But if you spend time working, on yourself and your mindset and just believe, hey, I'm going to go out there and do my very, very best. And I just choose to believe that if I'm providing people solutions, they are going to take me seriously. And when you have that mindset, it's a lot easier than you think. You're going to get a lot less resistance than a lot of the other gurus would have you believe if you don't know their magic formulas and stuff like that. So I just want to let you know, do not, quote unquote, shoot yourself in the foot by thinking that you're too young, too old, too whatever to do this. You can absolutely do this. If I myself, a shy, timid introvert, was able to develop these skills and put this stuff into place, my friend, you can absolutely do it. So I'm going to walk you through a worksheet that I made and that I have everyone who I speak with, I have them fill out this worksheet, and you're going to have the opportunity to do this very simple one-page exercise below that is going to save you so much time, energy, and effort as you go about doing your business. Whether you're an experienced investor, intermediate investor, or just a brand new, you're brand new to real estate wholesaling, I believe you're going to get a lot of value out of this worksheet. So let's talk about this. So I believe that one of the biggest things that holds us back is our belief. Whether we believe, wholesaling is difficult or unethical, or that we really don't know how we're going to provide value. And, maybe you think, oh, I'm just going to be going around offering super cheap prices on every house. No one is ever going to allow me to accept an offer or accept one of my offers for pennies on the dollar. How in the world am I going to actually provide value like we talked about just a minute ago? Because we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we provide other people. So you may be thinking, like, how am I going to do that? Well, one of the core things is the reasons to feel good about being a wholesaler in this current market. And I believe when you feel good about what you're doing, that's going to shine through to the seller or the buyer, and you're going to operate with so much more confidence. So here's a worksheet that I made when I first started to constantly remind myself, so that those feelings of fear and doubt do not creep in, because those things can keep you stuck for a long time. Ask me how I know. So the first thing, and I titled this, The Reasons to Feel Good About What I Do as a Wholesaler. First and foremost, understand that we are helping people out of difficult and stressful situations. The motivated sellers, and the way that I'm going to teach you in the upcoming training to go about your marketing, people are in very difficult situations. They have quite literally a massive problem that's on their hands in the form of a house, and they are seeking for a solution. And we're going to strategically place that awesome solution that's going to help them right in front of them. So by going about doing wholesaling this way, understand that you are going to be helping people out of difficult situations and stressful situations. So that's awesome. The second thing, and this is me personally, when I made this, I was like, I don't know exactly my ultimate purpose in life, but I know right now I'm in real estate. I know that I'm committed to making this work. This aligns with my big why, why I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to get in better financial health. I'm looking to be a better husband, provide for my family. And I myself, am a believer, and I, it's like, hey, at this point, this is fulfilling my God-given purpose on this earth. This is why I'm here right now, to the best of my knowledge. So I'm going to be the best I can possibly be at it. Number 3, providing sellers with another viable option for their real estate that they have. See, most sellers think that, I either have to try to sell this thing myself, or I have to hire an expensive realtor and really fix up this rundown property before anybody's going to ever buy it. There's just so many things that go through their mind. I'm going to have to pay realtor commissions. I'm going to have to deal with doing dozens of showings, and they just don't know there's another option. A lot of times they don't know, hey, they can still get a very fair offer for their house, and maybe they can pay off medical debt, or they can pay off certain things that are problematic in their life. So we're helping them with another viable option. In this process of becoming an awesome wholesaler, I am learning the art of acquiring discounted real estate, which is an immense skill that can free me up to purchase rentals or flip houses or just be the best wholesaler in my city. So maybe those of you watching this in the future have future aspirations to be a landlord or to have a big portfolio of properties. Maybe you want to get into rehabbing houses and flipping houses. Well, establishing the skill set of learning how to acquire discounted property, deeply discounted property, is a huge skill set that can free you up. So it's something to feel good about as you go through this process that I'm going to lay out for you in the Ultimate Wholesaling Blueprint. You can feel good that you're learning lifelong skills that can serve you for months and years to come. I'm becoming a powerful speaker and writer and negotiator, an entrepreneur in the process. Just by putting some of these very, very simple things into practice, you're naturally going to develop some amazing skills. Even if you think that, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this, my friend, it is a lot easier than you think. So stick with me, okay? You are helping sellers save money and time and fees associated with their property. So, a lot of times when they list properties with a realtor with a really rundown house, that thing sits on the market for a long time. Then they have to pay realtor commissions. A lot of times they're kind of nudged, Mrs. Johnson, the house really needs a lot of work. It could use a coat of paint, and it could use some yard work, and it could use a new roof. That'll really make the house sell faster, so says their friendly realtor, and they feel the pressure of that. So we're actually saving them a lot of time and money with their real estate, which is really, really cool and something to feel good about. And then on the flip side, when we're bringing in an end investor, which is going to be a rehabber or a landlord who's going to buy the house cash, we're actually serving them up on a silver platter, and we're helping them to do what they're best at. See, their specialty is not finding these houses. It's actually rehabbing the houses or adding them to their portfolio and being an excellent landlord. So we're actually serving the end buyer by giving them something that's extremely valuable to them. So we're providing a lot of value not only to the seller, but we're providing a lot of value to the buyer as well. We're helping them get great deals on investment properties. And then the other cool part is, a lot of the rehabbers, they have crews. Well, guess how their crews get paid? When they successfully do a rehab deal. So you're helping provide the investor and their families and their rehab crews, providing them work. So you can start to see how we're also kind of giving back to the economy, and this is kind of a machine that's in the work, and we're a vital piece to that. So I want you to start believing that now, that there is a lot of value in this, and you can feel good about what you're doing, because I'm going to show you how to go about this the right way. Next, another cool part is when you are wholesaling houses, you are doing your part to revitalize the neighborhood. If you think about it, you're getting a lot of really rundown houses, the diamonds in the rough, and you're serving them up to an end buyer who many, many times is going to fix that property up to the nines, really deck out the property. Well, what's that going to do to that neighborhood, to that street, to that community? It's going to revitalize it. It's going to increase values of other homes around it. So you can feel good that you're doing your part to revitalize the neighborhood in your city that you live in. And then the final point is that you're doing this to build wealth, to make a living, and to provide for your family, whether it is you're looking to go on more vacations or spend more time with your spouse or retire a loved one or a parent, or get more involved with your community or maybe a nonprofit organization or your church, to pay down debt or to get out of that corporate job. So this is a way to generate income for yourself and provide for your family. So these above reasons, and when I first got started, my friend, I had that doubt, but I want you to believe and start to understand that if I can do this, you can do this. And one of the key things for me was having this sheet in front of my computer and reminding myself very often that I could do this. And these were some of the reasons to feel good about what I was doing, okay? And in this exercise, I want you to list 10 reasons why you're going to focus and commit to getting results. Just 10 reasons. And then I want you to write out as many reasons as possible why you think this will work for you, specifically for you in your area and in your market. And then I want you to read this every day as you're going about your business. And this is going to help you combat the natural fears and the natural self-doubt that's going to creep up daily. And we must be able to battle the fear of why it won't work with the truth of why it can and will and is going to work for you. All right, Stephen Howell back, and we're going to finish off the final part of this video, and I have some book recommendations. So first, how did you like that exercise? More importantly, did you do that exercise? It's really, really powerful, and I know it's helped me. It's helped my students a ton. I've gotten great feedback from that. So if you haven't done that exercise, pause this video right now and do the exercise just in that last little segment. But I hope that segment, it goes along perfectly with what we're talking about. It was a recent video I've done, and I wanted to include that in here because I know that if you do it, it will help you tremendously. So let's tie a bow on this. Let me give you some book recommendations that will help you to build this skill set of talking to people. And that's how I want you to think of this. I want you to think of it as a skill set. And I want you to believe that it's possible for you personally to develop this, because it is. So I'm just going to get right into it. Book number 1, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect by John Maxwell. Everyone communicates, but few connect. It's a very good book. A mentor of mine, when I first started getting into real estate, told me to read this book because we all communicate with people, but few people actually truly really connect with people. And it is a skill that you can develop, and there's a way to go about doing it. And I want you to go ahead and read this book because it's going to serve you. It's going to help you to get better in this area, okay? Book number 2, Influence by Robert Cialdini, The Psychology of Persuasion. There is a way that we humans operate, and a way that our psychology works. And this is all of the big entrepreneurs, business people, almost every successful mentor of mine, person in business, has told me about this book. And it's a very, very good book to help you understand the why, like how we make decisions, why we make decisions, and it's going to help you in your real estate business a ton. Book number 3 is Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. It's a very, very good book. I had a mentor one time tell me that this is the only book on sales or marketing persuasion that I would ever need to read. So this is a powerful thing, and it has to do with frames. Don't let that confuse you. It's a shorter book, but it's a really, really good one. Book number 4 is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, this has sold over 15 million copies, and it's by Dale Carnegie, and it's been around for a long, long time, and it's kind of like a cult classic. I actually would read these books in this order that I've given you. Yes, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's like I said, just a historically really good book on connecting and influencing and how people work and things like that. But this is the order of kind of how I read these books and how they impacted me. So I would pass them along to you in that very same order. So I would simply take 2 weeks at most, and every 2 weeks read these books. And soon enough, if you kind of put a timestamp on it and you say, you know what, every 14 days my goal is to finish one of these books. And for the next 60 to 90 days from watching Steven's video right now today, I'm going to make it a goal of mine to get better at connecting with people, to get better at talking with people. The cool part, my friend, is it's going to have a ripple effect, a spillover effect in all other areas of your life. I mean, it's amazing when you have that skill and that power to connect with people. It helps your relationships and everything. So it's not something that's just going to serve you in real estate, okay? So how I beat this, and just to share this with you, is I beat this with a mentor. I beat this doing role-playing sessions, and this is what I do for my mentoring students. When they really, really struggle with talking with people, I'll get on the phone with them and pretend that, I'm a seller, or that I'm an attorney, or that I'm a buyer, and then we'll switch roles and, really help them. And every single time, I can almost like feel the light bulb going off of like, oh my gosh, Stephen, like, I get it, because I'm hearing your voice inflection. I'm getting how you pause and how you say things. And so I beat this basically through the concept of modeling. So that is something that you can do as well to begin opening your eyes, begin opening, the possibility of bringing a mentor into your life to be able to model from, right? And you can take the concepts that I'm giving you on this video and begin applying them. But I want to share with you the honest truth of how I overcame this. Is I worked with a mentor to really work with me on what to say, and I would write down how he would deliver his offers, and then I'd say the same thing, and I'd pay attention to how he paused his voice and the voice inflection and all of those things, and just mirrored and copied basically how he did that. And that's what I have, help my students with as well. So I think that's important to know, that you don't need to go reinvent the wheel. You simply model what works and ditch the rest. So now I want to give you some action steps to take this from just theory to actually making application of it, okay? So we have information alone does nothing. Information plus application equals the transformation that we're all after. So remember that. So action step, I want you to begin asking for referrals. Spread the news about who in the heck you are and how you can help people. People need to know that you and your business exist, that you're actually there in your city, in your marketplace, in your target market, and that you can help them. So they need to know that you buy houses, right? They need to know that you are the blah, blah, blah house buyer in whatever city you are. Sell house fast. You are the person to go to. You are blank, blank, blank investments. They need to know that you exist, that you and a few partners, you're just a local, mom and pop type shop. You and a couple partners buy houses, and you are interested in making them a very fair offer. And you want to start asking for referrals, whether you're at a gas station, coffee shop. Hey, Joe, thanks for the coffee. Hey, by the way, do you know of anybody that is selling a house? I'm not a realtor or anything, but I actually buy houses here in the area, and me and a few partners are looking for another house to either renovate or rehab. My partners kind of do that end of the work. But do you know of anyone that's looking to sell fast for any reason? I'm basically doing a bunch of marketing. I'm always looking for some extra eyes and ears around town. So if you know of anyone, can I give you my cell phone number? Would you call me? And hey, if I happen to buy it, because I'm really kind of spreading the word, planting the eyes and ears around. If I happen to buy it, I'll definitely give you, pay you $500 if we happen to close on it. Let me give you my cell phone number, or here's my business card. So you can do that, when you're going out to eat with a waiter, waitress, at the coffee shop, gas station, just in your passing. I want you to begin telling people in your own little way. Spend some time today, spend some time this week or this weekend coming up with just a little elevator pitch that you feel comfortable with and that you can share with people, just a little snippet about your business, okay? And I want you to begin this today. Set a goal and stick to it. Maybe your goal is simply to talk to one person a day. And in fact, that's what I'd recommend you starting with. And I actually want you to track it. Whether you're tracking it on a notepad or you have an app or you're putting it in an Excel spreadsheet, I want you to track how many people you tell about your business every single day of the week, and then you have a weekly total. And if you're not talking about your business, if you're not telling people about your business, most likely you're not showing up in your marketplace. This is especially for those of you who have a very limited marketing budget. There's this is kind of painful to hear, but there's no excuse for not doing this, right? This is like what you need to do because it's free and it's one of the most powerful things that if you'll do it consistently can have the most transformational effect on your business than almost anything else. But the problem is if we're not consistent with it, the results diminish greatly, okay? So just commit to talking with one person a day, and this is going to increase your skills, your comfort level, all of these things. And eventually, you're going to start talking with up to 30 people a day. I know a very successful investor that told me his magic formula, his secret to success is having 30 to 40 meaningful conversations every day. Now, his is not all in person. It's also on the phones. He's calling all sorts of leads back, doing tons of marketing. But if he doesn't talk to 30 people on the phone, just short little 2, 3, 5-minute conversations, and that's how he does 5, 10 deals a month. So this is a really powerful concept. That's the goal of where you're going. But if you set a goal of like, I'm going to pound the phone and talk and call 30 people a day from day one, you're probably going to set yourself up for failure. So start talking with one person in the real world. In this example, I'm actually talking in person to start spreading that news about your business, right? People need to know you exist. And then you can start taking that onto the phone as well. And you can start calling, leads as well. Your leads from the marketing that you're doing. You can start calling the for rent ads, for sale by owners, Zillow, other wholesalers. Begin networking, begin showing up in your business and practice talking with people. The longer you stay behind your computer and are afraid to do this, the longer to get results. And I know you're watching this video, my friend, because you want to get results. I promise you can do this. I promise you it's not as scary. And even if you fail, it's going to be okay because you're going to learn better. Okay, so begin calling your leads and following up today. I want you to give little short, energetic emails. Hey, Johnny, was just thinking about you. I know we talked about 3-4 weeks ago. I made you that offer of $100,000. Just curious if you ended up selling the house or if you got another offer. I had you on my notepad here. It's Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Me and my partner, we're looking for another few deals right now. I tell you what, I'd love to do something with you. We're not terribly far apart. Give me a call right now on my cell phone. Energetic emails, energetic voicemails, little touching base and following up with people. And also calling your leads, calling through. If you're doing probate, calling through your executors, your attorneys. If you're doing other forms of marketing, start calling those leads. Have that passion, have that energy, and start talking with people today. All right, so the next one here. Let's see what's going on with my computer here. All right, develop that attitude of it's cool either way. Just like I talked about earlier today in this training, we're not coming from a place of desperation. Hey, there's other fish in the sea. We're doing a lot of marketing. That's totally fine. If this is not for you, remember that 90% of the leads that you're marketing to, it's either not going to be the right time, or maybe they want full value on their house, or it's just not the right fit right now. And that's okay. We're not trying to talk people into something they don't want to do. We're not trying to twist their arm. We're simply planting lots of seeds, and there's going to be that certain percentage of the population where it is like actually the right thing to do and it's the best fit for both parties, and they just want to get rid of this darn property. So we want to develop the attitude, and it goes a long way when you have that unwavering confidence of like, yeah, Mrs. Jones, I tell you what, I made you this offer of $100,000. And we can only keep that open till Friday. We're looking at a few other houses. No big deal if it doesn't work out. But if you'd like, I can go ahead and send over a contract. But that offer is only open till Friday. And just let me know either way. It's cool either way. Wish you the best. And when you have that walk away attitude, when you have the attitude of like, I don't need you, I'm not desperate, you will have so much more success in your business. Okay, so start developing and thinking through that. And And I want you to start falling flat on your face today. I want you to fail, okay? I want you to get out there, and this might sound a little mean, but it's coming from a place of love. I want you to look like an idiot. I want you to fail. I want you to feel uncomfortable. And I know it's painful, and I've been there so many times, and it's funny, like sometimes I can be so like silly and socially awkward, but I purposely put myself in uncomfortable situations and try to do things that scare the crap out of me because I know it's going to make me bigger and stronger and a lot faster. And like I said, when you have that uncomfortable silence, or you don't know how to overcome an objection, or you don't know what you're going to do next, 9 times out of 10, you're going to figure it out and you're going to learn, because you don't want to repeat that painful process. And you're going to remember, you're not going to forget. You might forget some things you learn on a training video or in a seminar, but a lot of times those lessons that we learn in the real world, we're not going to forget those as fast. So that's why it's so important to actually take action, because you're going to learn at such a higher and faster rate than if you just keep in study mode, okay? You're ready right now to go start talking with people. Just go do it, okay? I want you to do one thing each day to build and work on your self-esteem, okay? This could be an entire separate training, okay? And a lot of this comes down to, how we were raised, how we view ourselves, the inner dialogue that we speak to ourselves. And there can be some very negative things and backgrounds and all sorts of things that we've come from. But my friend, it really comes down to, who you are and how you view yourself and what you believe to be true about yourself. And I know for me, and where I go to learn about who I am, as you may know, I go to the Bible, I go to the Word of God for that, but I'm not here to give you a sermon or anything else. But I want you to start thinking about what's one thing. Maybe it's affirmations for you. Maybe it's speaking with a therapist. Maybe it's doing one thing. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's talking with a friend. Whatever it is for you, I want you to start doing one thing every day to build a little bit of goodwill and self-esteem for yourself. Because the more confident, the more self-esteem you can build, the better impact and effect you're going to have on people as you go out in the real world and as you're talking with people, okay? So whatever that thing is for you, start trying different things. Ask for help. Seek help, and you will certainly find it. So my friend, I believe in you. Those are the action steps for this video. I've given you some really good content here, some homework. And for those of you who have watched this video to the end, thank you for taking time to watch this video. I hope that it resonates with you. And I want to give you a bonus. I want to give you my rebuttal script, okay? I want to give you my rebuttal script of what I say when, the sellers throw me objections and how you can overcome these. So in order for you to claim the bonus, I want to show you exactly what to do real quick. If you go over to productivewisdom.com, and simply subscribe to my subscribers list, where you get all of my best content, and I even have some more bonuses in there for you, and send me an email at steven@productivewisdom.com, I will go ahead and send over the bonus. And then if you'd like, what I'd like for you to do is go over to productivewisdom.com, click on my blog, and if you can start going through some of these videos and just leave a comment if the video was valuable to you, I'm going to go ahead and send over the bonus for you. So that's kind of my homework to get this bonus. I want you to go ahead, because I have some really good content prepared for you here, and I think you'll really, really like it. So you have the exercise that you can model, from earlier in this video, the reasons to feel good about what you do as a wholesaler. That's kind of bonus 1. Bonus 2 is my secret rebuttal script that I typically only share with my students. If you go ahead and subscribe to my blog here, you come over, visit the blog, comment on these blog posts here and just send me an email at steven@productivewisdom.com. I'll go ahead and send over the bonuses to you. So my friend, it was my pleasure recording this video. I will be back tomorrow for the second part of this training series. So I'll see you then. And my friend, I forgot to mention that you will want to watch your email like a hawk, because tomorrow is going to be video 2, part 2 of this 4-part series. And the whole goal is to help you get your next deal done by Christmas. Now, you might be watching this video at a later time, and that's perfectly okay. Don't feel like you missed out. Right now, at the time of this recording, it's the beginning part of November. So Christmas is, obviously about a little less than 60 days out. So if you get laser focused, which I want to help you do, and put the blinders on, replace Christmas with 30, 60, 90 days. That's like the sweet spot. So much can happen. I want to be very clear that I'm not saying I'm going to teach you some magical thing that's going to get you rich by tomorrow. No, this is going to take real work. This is real, and it actually works. But when we get really, really focused, it's amazing what can happen in our lives in 30, 60, and 90 days. So that's kind of the direction I want you to think about. And I'm going to share with you, by the end of this 4-part series, you're going to know one simple change, and it is a simple change, for you to go get your next deal done in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And for those of you who are participating in this live, by Christmas, right? So how powerful would that be to, by Christmas, by the first part of the year, when you're making those New Year's resolutions, to actually already have the stuff in place and already have deals coming in. It's possible, but we got to get moving right now. So I'll see you tomorrow.